October 11th, 2019, Tri-City.
Sorry, that's a typo on here. Dale
I was just reading
what was on here.
Yep. How about if I start again? I would like to try to call the Monday, October 14th, 2019, Tri-City United School Board regular meeting. It is 6 p.m. and we are located here at the Tri-City United High School Band Room. Roll call finds all present. And we will begin with, we have to remove, board members, on the back page, the item motion to approve the contract with the Minnesota Millwork Fixtures and Communication and Marketing Service. That contract has not been brought forth. Superintendent Pricer will address that situation in her administrative reports.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Superintendent Pricer.
Thank you. I'm going to hit some of the highlights from our schools and departments, and as we all share every month, we have these board reports that are shared publicly, and encourage everyone, board members and all of our public, to take a moment to read through. It fits with our 4 strategic directions in each one of our areas. So at TCU Montgomery, a couple of things I'm going to highlight is all of our sites and departments have been working on their building goals for 2019-20, and focusing on our school goal, the targeted group goal, and a social emotional goal. And so, as you can see, Deb has shared what TCU Montgomery's are, focusing in the area of math, in particular math academic vocabulary, so an increase in their MCA 3 results is their goal. And in social emotional, really I'm focusing on those daily experiences, which fits well with our strategic operational plan, and increasing our number or percentage of students who believe and perceive and know that there's an adult who cares for them. And some of that information came from the Minnesota Student Survey data as well. They've also been working a great deal with PRESS, which is a University of Minnesota intervention, and their RTI team has met already with each of their grade levels, and based off of fall fast benchmarking, developing tier 2 and 3 interventions. In our food service, a couple of highlights here as well. This week is National School Lunches Week, so keep an eye out for some tasty pictures there as well. We also had our TCU Lonsdale K-6 kitchen staff. We had our first Department of Health report of the year, and it was conducted at this site, and there were no violations. They had a perfect score, so bravo to our team of Amanda, Sarah, and Renee. And we also have some years of service that's pretty exciting with Sue Schmidt, who is at TCU La Center, and Sheila Kubish, who's here at TCU High School with 20+ years of service, so outstanding. Within our community education, we have with us tonight Anna Hoy with Marketing and Communications. I'll have you come up when I'm done with all of the reports. The contract for services has been completed. There's just some finalities for us to have it forward to sign. Randall Rivers had it completed by his side. We had it completed, so I'm not quite sure where the other entities, why that didn't come forward. But it's a real cut and dry, straight contract for services. As far as within community education, October 7th, this last week, was our first day of morning KidZone in La Center. We've tried to get that started for a number of years, and have some numbers to begin, and away we shall go, so that's exciting. And we currently have 24 RAP enrollments. We also have 18 registered participants for our TCU Titan Special Olympic Bowling program. And as you recall, we had some student athletes who made it to the bocce ball state tournament recently. And then, this is an exciting, November, here will mark the 50th anniversary of the pool at TCU Montgomery K-8 school. And they'll be picking a date to host an event at the pool in honor of and celebration of 50 years. Within our special services department, I'm going to hit a little bit here at the early childhood special ed. We always have had to, and all early childhood special ed programs do ongoing assessments of all students in ages 3 to 5. and in the past had used the program called HELP. That is no longer supported by MDE, and we will be moving to work sampling. Been familiar with work sampling for a number of years. It's been a large assessment piece within Title I in the past, and now we'll be moving into early childhood as well. And then we have our first Special Education Advisory Council meeting on October 29th, and Holly has really built that into some good numbers in attendance and has had great feedback from parents in the past. Within our high school, as we knew and had shared, their juniors took the ACT practice test down in the G Wing at the flexible furniture. It worked pretty well. They're probably going to need to consider some spacing aspects of the students, but it was nice to have the students on site for that lengthy test, and now it sounds like we can do them in smaller groups if necessary. So lots of changes coming with ACT. We also will be beginning our math review, and just with 7-12 alone, we'll have 5-day-long sessions, and Mr. Fitter is going to be a part of those as well with Mr. Flugum. Within our business office, big step. As you know, we moved to online enrollment, which Ms. Kopp shared recently. Well, we've also, thanks to the hard work of Brenda Rozier and Jean with JMC and with getting approval from MDE, we're going to be able to move to online submission of the free and reduced benefits application, rather than doing the mailing. So that's going to be huge. We'll be able to push that out electronically, and families who do not have access to internet, we get a report when we send that out so we know who doesn't have it, and we will mail to those families still. So we are assured to still reach everyone. But this should really speed things up, move into efficiencies, and hopefully our families will be a little sooner in responsiveness, because we don't want anyone to have gaps in their qualifications for that important program. Within TCU La Center, I think you're going to be hearing an awful lot of Avid moving into the elementary there this year. They're really just on fire about it. Been to a couple of their staff meetings where staff have been sharing some of the strategies and in focusing and starting with organization, and then this last one was on collaboration. So that's been a lot of their implementation, moving to standard work as we go along. At TCU Lonsdale, targeted services are going to begin this fall, calling it Team Titan Time, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and focusing on reading, math, and social emotional learning. So really breaking that into 3 sessions throughout the year. Also within their 3 big rocks within their goals, focusing still on universal design for learning, which is moving from its learning work to implementation work. And then within our smart room trainings, moving that more into implementation standard work. And then finally, of course, again, as you'll see across the whole district, social emotional learning. And then I would like to invite Anna Hoy to come on over to our table here. Anna was hired by Minnesota Millworks and Fixtures as their communications and marketing specialist. And in a partnership, we have been able to contract for services from Minnesota Millworks for half of the position. Anna's been with us for a couple weeks now, and her schedule is pretty much landing right now as Monday, Tuesdays here at TCU, and then alternating Fridays between TCU and Millworks. So Anna, we're glad to have you here. If you'd like to just share a little bit with the board and have the board have a chance to welcome you as well.
Hi. So as Terry said, I'm Anna Hoy. I do the marketing communications for TCU and Minnesota Millwork. It's quite the interesting position. Definitely changing personas keeps me on my toes. So I handle the website, social media, any of the digital, printed, when it comes to either company, I guess you could say. Definitely a learning curve. A lot of moving parts with both places, so it's quite the exciting. I have a background in marketing, advertising, graphic design, so it's a lot of play for me, to be honest. It's fun, and get to throw in new things. So
Thank you. Welcome.
thank you.
We're glad to have you here.
Yep.
She got her first taste of homecoming here at Tri-City United on Friday.
I did 3 parades one day. My children were very jealous. It was, I had told Terry, funny story is that my face was hurting so bad by the end of the day because the kids were just so excited. And, it just makes you smile and it reminds me, what it's like to have little kids and enjoy the enthusiasm. Although I should have taken their cue and put snow pants on, I think, for the day. But it was a lot of fun, and following the band around for the different schools, and it was quite the experience. So
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being here tonight, Anna.
perfect. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
All right.
Are we done?
Yep.
Moving on then, approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion then with the taking away of that contract as far as of Minnesota Mill Works. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Under the consent motion, approval of the minutes, then under personnel, new hire, Victoria Morsching, LTS, second grade, Lee Center, Nicole Malloch, Custodian, Lonsdale, Amy Alberg, fall musician technician, Brian Mikel, fall weight room supervisor, Liesel Theusch, 8th grade boys basketball coach, Rosalind Carson, PT KidZone supervisor, Lonsdale, Wendy Walters, paraprofessional, Lonsdale, Becca Linscheid, LTS kindergarten, Montgomery, Alan Ihrke, .8 full-time teacher, math, high school, employment ending, Austin Pinke, junior high basketball, baseball, excuse me, thank you.
We need to keep him in basketball.
Yes,
don't
we certainly do, yes. Austin Pinke, junior high baseball coach, Bruce Hollom, junior high baseball coach, Tammy Holicky, paraprofessional, Lee Center. Leave of absence, Mary Velasquez, ELL, paraprofessional interpreter in Lee Center, Allison Honick, special ed, Lonsdale and dance team coach, Jamie Bruns, 3rd grade teacher, Lee Center. Then reading of the second and final reading of Policy 902, use of the school district facilities and equipment. 902.1, facility use. Approval of the bills in the amount of $1,336,870.50. Finance report. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Krista.
Second.
Second by Kevin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Open forum. Brenda? None tonight? Moving on then to Crichton title words. I believe Mr. Fitterer has a big time one that he's going to be working with.
Right here, Mr. Fitter.
Thank you.
Yeah. Had to put our signatures on there, make it official.
That's always good. Happy Monday after homecoming week, board. Dr. Preisler. I am pleased to announce tonight, and I'm going to bring Tyler on up here, that Tyler Holm has completed something that very few people ever complete. So he became an Eagle Scout just recently. Michelle let me know he is the final piece in that Troop 9329 in the center to accomplish this, and that's also very rare that you've got all members of a troop to achieve Eagle Scout. So please put your hands together and we'll bring Tyler up. ask Tyler to share what his project was.
Okay.
And ask him to come to the uniform.
In the spring of 2016, the city of Lee Center reworked the road that I lived on, and when they did that, they cut down a lot of trees that were on the boulevard. And for my project, I decided to replant some trees, and through the summer of 2017, with the help of the troop and some city workers, we ended up planting 57 trees.
Wow, 57.
Wow. So then I went to the board and they approved my project and
Nice job. man.
Congrats. Congratulations.
Congratulations again, man. Way to go.
Congratulations. Great job, Tyler. Thank you.
Nice job. I was just
Moving on, under informational items, TCU, FFA Alumni Association. I believe we have
We do. We have,
someone who would like to give us some updates.
yeah, welcome Mr. Jerry Beckel and Mr. Barry Schmidt to come on up and share a little bit of information on the Alumni Association. And if you'd like to sit at the table there, we have a microphone and away we go.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jerry Beckel. I'm one of the board members for the Tri-City United Alumni Association, which is newly formed and affiliated, part of the Minnesota State FFA Alumni, as well as the National FFA Alumni. I'm a little bit disorganized here, but the FFA Alumni Association was formed probably about 15, 18 years ago on the national level by a few states, and it kept growing. And in most cases, it was kind of found on the idea of helping support the FFA chapter in our local chapters, as well as giving a place for us turned out to Green Pastures FFA alumni. So it is great that Barry sort of instituted the searching and looking at whether or not we, as a TCU school that has FFA, that would be able to start our own affiliation. And we did some research, and our president, Sam Ruger, along with Barry, did some extensive work and set up our first meeting. And from there, it's gone leaps and bounds. Our board is Sam Ruger is our president, Brian Safleka is our vice president, Diane Johnson's our treasurer, Robert Gettle is our secretary, Clark Kaiserschott is our public relations person, and I'm the fundraiser chair. So we're getting off to a good start. We've had a couple of fundraisers, which I'm sure you've been aware of. We've had a couple of breakfasts. This past summer, we had sponsored a tractor truck pull at the Lee Center Fairgrounds. That was a eye-opener because it first time ever been involved with that. So we did quite well, and we're looking forward to bigger and better things down the road. We've heard some things happen that may be a plus to us. Owatonna Fair has dropped the tractor truck pull during their fair, so we may end up picking up people as we go along. So we're slated to, the committee has already started to look at next year's dates and so forth, when to do it. So what I passed out to you is the first 2 pages of our volunteer handbook. You're just reading material for you to look at. This is a 28-page handbook. It covers the aspects of volunteers helping support the ag program locally, and as well as developing leadership for us moved on FFA students. The second one there is the leadership development. It kind of gives you a synopsis of one of our leadership things. It talks about building a barn and how all the things that happen in building a barn, and you want to start your organization and do the same thing. So you're developing leaders, you're developing young people, and our students that graduate from TCU are automatically enrolled for the first 3 years, and we as a local chapter have decided that there will be no, if we can continue to raise funds, there will be no membership fee. So it's strictly a volunteer organization, and there's things that you can, as you see, you can learn. And Lord, we have 3 people have already attended since our in start. We have 3 people that have gone through the President's Circle training, Diane Johnson, Sam Ruger, and myself, and that is really a great leadership, 4-part leadership training that we go through, and it's strictly volunteer, and if somebody's willing to go through it, all you got to do is contact one of the board members or Sam Ruger, and we can make sure you get you in the next cycle for doing it. So the main focus I think that we want us today is basically say thank you to the school board for supporting agriculture and supporting that you added on extensive building size to our ag department, and also hiring a second ag teacher. I come from the Cleveland School District, which I'll probably be booed at, but we lost our FFA in 1970 and have not had an active chapter since. It was my strong passion when I was an FFA officer in my time that FFA was a great leadership ability as long as learning, and as a pro-advocate for agriculture, we need those students to learn ag tech and all the things that go with it. Over 80% of the jobs that are out there are ag related. It may not seem that way, but all the secretaries, the people that are leg runners, engineers, that amounts up to a lot of people. So we want to work strongly with the ag department and the school district to help promote ag technology and diversification and I'm glad to see, had a visit with Barry at the beginning of the school year. Some of the new technologies brought in is just amazing. It really is. So basically with that, if you have any questions, very much open. Hope you continue to support, but I want to thank you again for supporting the Ag Department and Tri-City United.
One quick question, when you've had some of these activities, how many people are you getting to come and help you out that are active members as far as the alumni of the FFA?
I would say our activity, we're still trying to generate our email address sheet. So that's where we try and dig it out along with Facebook and so forth. But I'd say our active roster is roughly around 50 to 75 active people, but we have close to about 200 people that are on the list because of either they've signed up or they've been brought in for the last 3 years of ag classes. Those students are all joined. So, and that's, and we're still constantly looking for volunteers, and it seems to be at the breakfasts or the post-harvest feed last year, it seemed to be a different group of people all the time, so which is great. We want to continue that, and especially even with the tractor pull, we had a whole different group of people. Some of us board members, I'm sure it was redundant, but it is great to see.
What do you hope to raise the funds for moving forward? I know you said so there isn't a fee, but what do you plan to do with those funds?
Those funds initially were started to increase to support Barry and his ag program, also to increase the number of scholarships going back for those students. We went from when Barry was doing it at 2, and we pushed it up to 4. We've also increased the monetary just slightly, and I'm thinking come January when we have our annual meeting and decide on some of these issues again, that we may be looking at either a larger value or more students. Last year we had, I believe, 8 or 9 applications. The prior year, I think we had similar. So it is just great to see that. We want to see that. We're a nonprofit organization, so we are going to eventually have to look at things to spend the money on. And if it means help supporting the ag department, but that's still up to Barry, is where he wants to go with that. And the school board as well. One thing that was brought up in one of my initial meetings that I was getting on board with is that some of the other alumni associations, when they contribute to the school, it's under the understanding that the alumni owns that piece of equipment if they buy it, and the school is then using it. So in case of anything ever happens, that you lose the ag department, which would have happened in our school case, that does not belong to the school to use, or unless they want to purchase it. But those are all topics down the road. Like I said in the beginning of the handbook, it gives you some ideas of about volunteers, what we want, what partnerships, instructions, advocacy for agriculture, advocacy for students, people. We want to support them. We want the best outcome that they can get out of coming to school. And as an ag person, I've seen the transition from strong college-oriented classes to now where we are in the industry lacking tech jobs or tech people. And we want to stress that there's always a position out there. It's how well you want to perceive it.
Thank you.
Barry, did I clear it?
Yeah, I think you did. So, you're looking at some things as expenses increase. So, for instance, like our national convention, we are probably, we're a unique group in the school because we're probably 80% self-funded. Most of our trips, most of our travel, most of our stuff is us. So national convention, we're going to look at trying to help students out, for those kind of things. Even some that can't afford the coveted blue jacket,
Right.
they want to start a group of people that want to give out several blue jackets a year. So it's going to help offset those as cost increase.
Right.
We're helping with those kind of things.
Yep.
So, but to get started, they had to get funds. So early on, it's okay. Let's get that built up. Like I said, the breakfast will be again February 17th,
During
18th.
whenever during Ag Week, we've got it scheduled again during National FFA Ag Week,
Yeah. And then,
and so it'll be one Sunday or the other. And the other thing I want to stress is that we also, as parents and FFA members, we want to help Barry support the SAEs that the students accomplish. We want to see that they receive those chapter degrees, the state degrees, and as well as the national degree. The state of Minnesota has done, and even TCU has done very well. We had 2 teams last year go to the nationals in judging teams. And that is very, very good and very, very promising. And also, I know I've had a nephew that was from the Wells school district that he just received last fall he received his American Farmer's degree, and he had President Trump, not meaning that, but he was on stage with 4 of the students that had won their American degrees. So what FFA to me opens is doors endless if you strive for them.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continued success. Moving on, overview of the state and national awards earned by TCU. Superintendent Preisler.
Yes, thank you.
Terry, did you need extra copies?
I think we're all right unless sometimes the media appreciates having a copy of something handed to the board. Well, as was recently announced, Tri-City United was part of receiving a pretty significant award as the National Blue Ribbon Award. And the school that was recognized was TCU Lonsdale, but I began to think about, in our last 3 years as a school district, we've received state and national recognitions across our district, and they're really significant awards. I've not seen a school district receive that varied of awards at national and state levels in any time in my career. And they're probably out there, but they've not been districts that I've been a part of. And so I thought it was important for us to take a look back at the varying awards that have occurred and to understand how the recognitions come about. Because sometimes it is an application straightforward situation, and sometimes you are nominated by others. And so in 2017-18, our district, entire district of Tri-City United, did receive a Distinguished District Award, and this was a National District of Distinction. This was, we were only one of 2 districts in the state of Minnesota recognized not only that year, but in the past 2 years. So the Shakopee School District and Tri-City United in the last 2 years have been the only districts in Minnesota to receive this District of Distinction Award. In 17-18, there were 31 recognized in the nation. And basically what this is focused on, and it is an application process, and I did fill out the application, but it honors districts and schools committed to increasing student access, engagement, and achievement. And those are the kinds of questions they asked. How many modules are you doing in your K through 6? What are you offering in your 6, 7, 8? What has been the achievements within your secondary programs? And so at that, in that year, we did receive the District of Distinction. And if you recall, we really started with Project Lead the Way, which is our STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, in 2012-13 at the 9th grade level. And I remember that well as Mr. John had joined us that year, and the same year that, no, it was 12-13 or 13-14. Do I have that year off? I'm sorry, everyone. It was 13-14 because he came from Owatonna the same year I did. So got old there, I guess. So that was, we did begin it in 13-14. So in that short amount of time to be recognized at the national level is significant. Then last year, we had 3 of our schools receive National Schools of Distinction Award. And in this one, this was for the launch. So the launch program is one that recognizes K through 5 programs. We were 3 of the 6 schools in Minnesota recognized. So of the 6 total, we had half of them. Again, this was there in the nation. There was 256 schools in the nation, and this was awarded to TCU La Center, TCU Montgomery, and TCU Lonsdale. And it was in 2018-19. Again, similar types of processes, and within the application process about access and engagement. And we really need to commend our staff for their commitment to the modules that take place in K through 5. We right now offer 2 different modules, have at times considered and looked at expanding into 3. But it's a piece that the modules have also brought about is not just that module, but that whole inquiry project-based learning mindset across other content areas, which I know we've shared in the past. And again, then this was based on the percentage of instructional commitment. So here were the other schools in Minnesota last year in K-5 who received National School of Distinction. And there you see Tri-City United 3 times, along then with Silver Lake and Glencoe, which are both in the same district, and then Carson, Manorville Elementary. Then we also last year had 2 schools, TCU Montgomery and TCU La Center, who received National Schools of Distinction for the Gateway program. And Gateway recognizes 6 through 8 programs. And our Gateway at 6th grade is design and modeling. And then at 7th and 8th grade, we move into robotics, and we have also done computer apps and other engineering types of opportunities for students. We were 2 of 4 schools in the state, in the state that were awarded this, and 158 in the nation. Again, this was an application process. Again, it's about access engagement, and fits so well, both of these, and really all 3 of these, with our mission of to empower learners, create opportunities, and united for success. This whole part is about creating opportunities for our students. Again, of the 4, here you see, we were 2 of them, and Stillwater, and then Brooklyn Center. Then last year, Tri-City United Le Center was chosen as a Minnesota PBIS Sustaining Exemplar Recognition School. Positive Behavioral Interventions is Supports is what PBIS stands for. They were one of 71 schools recognized, and the purpose within this award is to identify and recognize exemplar schools that have completed the PBIS implementation in the fullest manner and continuing to achieve positive student outcomes. In this application, there's a lot more data that is needed to be provided. They do need to show the training they've taken, their reduction of student referrals, the improvements of positive actions, their percentage on attendance, all types of differing aspects. And this one, there was a recognition ceremony at the Department of Education where Andrea Dubanowski, Jamie Bruns, Bryce Bruns, and Brian Grensteiner were there to receive the award, and then attended the state PBIS conference at that time. And then I was invited to be able to go for the award. And so it was pretty significant to see all of the information that was shared. And each school that had received the award, they had a slide on and told about some of the unique things that were happening there. And this was TCU Le Centers. Give me a chance to read through all of those. And then most recently, yes, the National Blue Ribbon Schools. TCU Lonsdale was one of 10 Minnesota schools recognized, with 362 in the nation. It is based on either overall academic excellence or progress in closing achievement gaps. The way that this award is determined is recommendation start. So the Minnesota Department of Education selects schools that they would like to recommend. There were 16 schools that they recommended to the federal government for the Blue Ribbon Award. Once they've made that recommendation, then the schools do fill out kind of a portfolio. We call it application, but a portfolio of what they offer, what instructional practices they're doing, all kinds of data in that aspect. And then the final award is made by the U.S. Department of Education. And this truly does affirm the hard work of our educators and our families and communities. And even though TCU Lonsdale was the school that was selected with this, individual schools don't receive awards without a system and structure in place of the entire district. And so the work that we've done as an entire district makes a difference. And TCU Lonsdale has had exceptional achievements, and within being in the top 15% within their math and reading scores. And I'm sure that that's the aspect that caught the Minnesota Department of Education's eyes. And that they did receive the award based on overall academic excellence. Since 2013, there have been 53 Minnesota schools selected. And here's a little bit of the overview on this past year. You can see, for example, let's see if I can make this larger. I do not know if I can. But you can kind of see here within the state of Minnesota, my good old state of North Dakota has had a few. The school levels, there's 312 public schools, 50 non-public schools. It gives an overview and demographic of those that received the award this year. And then if I go here into you can see the schools that were selected here in Minnesota this year. Varying of suburban, urban, rural. Oh, it's suburban and rural. not the urban. And so with this, there is a national award ceremony that occurs in Washington, D.C. in November. We are able to send 3 people. They indicate that the school principal and school district representative, and then 1 staff member. We are going to be able to send them thanks to funds through donations. We will not be using our unassigned fund $1 for this. Did feel it was important to send before this national award ceremony. And as I said, it is a credit to all of our TCO with our mission and strategic plan and the systems of excellence. And so, again, I thought it was important for us to remember the success that's happened across our entire district. And, you know, as Tri-City United was started 8 years ago, you know, the dream was that we'd be creating opportunities for students and empowering our learners in multiple ways. And I think that these wide variations between our STEM programming, our emotional and behavioral supports, and with academic achievements certainly are showing that kind of progress. Any questions or anything?
Well, thanks for putting that together. I think it's easy to forget all the things that have happened and kind of just think, oh, it's just one area, but it's all of the schools that have been recognized, so that's pretty cool.
And, you know, when opportunities arise for us to apply, we certainly will continue to do so. I did think we could also do another presentation on our staff who have been selected to present at regional trainings and even at a state national level. We this October have Amy Alberg and Laura Angelina who were selected to present at a co-teaching conference up in Minneapolis. It's important for us and our public to know that those things are happening.
It means we're doing good things.
Yeah, I think it does reflect, you know, even as a board, as we have tried to, you know, provide support, and even past board members who, you know, since we have been TCU, what a great job that we can have done and we will continue to do, and we need to truly take pride in all of those efforts.
Yes. Even as Jerry commented on the investments in that within expanding within the ag programming. That's important decisions by you as a school board. Project Leadway is an investment. That's a big one. Our students are eating it up when you consider all the things happening, not just in robotics, but in their problem solving. So, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving on, ACT and non-current enrollment course overview. Mr. Fitter, I believe, is going to speak to that one.
Good evening once again, Board. Dr. Preisler. If we'll pull up the first sheet, each year the University of Minnesota that actually runs the College in the Schools program, that's just their program name, they send out to all districts, all partners, what they consider their value statements. Many of you probably know that what a high school pays for each course is not the same as to what somebody would pay if they were attending the University of Minnesota. I think the current rate is $147 per student per course, and that equates out to a student at the college level on campus would be paying over $500 for that same number of credits for that course. So I wanted to share some of what the university shares with us, and Dr. Preisler also asked me to dive a little bit deeper with our other partners in concurrent enrollment, as well as articulated credit, which we also have. It's kind of amazing as we take a look at some of the numbers. What the U shares here, though, is they have every student fill out a survey at the end of each course, and very positive feedback that students say about the program. And you can see the 90% numbers as far as if they'd recommend the course to other high school students. Overall rated their experience as good or excellent, that's 92 to 97%, etc. And then they jump into more student student success pieces, and they compare themselves with the advanced placement program. I don't know the history of La Center, but I know when I was hired in 2006 at Montgomery Lonsdale, we had advanced placement U.S. history, and we were struggling for students to hit a 3 or higher. 3, 4s, and 5s in the advanced placement program give students college credit. 1s and 2s do not. And so that was the movement then, my first year, where we started to move more towards the concurrent enrollment program, as that was coming pretty fast and hard down the state's view, and our government got behind it from the political level and put some money towards it. But very positive numbers according to the U as compared with the advanced placement and with students of color as well. If you want to flip over out of the back side, this is the piece that the U likes to provide for each school itself. So at TCU, unduplicated count of students. We had 135 different students at TCU last year during the 18-19 school year take at least one CIS course. Total registrations is 272, which is fantastic, so just about double there. Gives a breakdown of our students by race, ethnicity as well, and you can see, which I am proud to say, our students of color numbers have slowly increased through the years, which was, if we looked even back 4 or 5 years ago, we actually only had 1 or 2 students in the CIS program, the youth program, students of color at that time. 249 out of that 272 received a grade of a C or higher, that's 92%, and a total of 930 credits earned by our students last year. And the 145 is the amount, so we ended up paying $39,440 to the U for these opportunities. And that's what, we talk about a state aid, and that's how that equates out there. Having these courses on our campus saves us a lot of PSEO dollars where students are leaving. And then the overall value, which that number blows me away, roughly $500,000 is what those credits equal out to be. Dr. Pricer, if you'll jump to the other PDF on there, that'd be great. So each year I put together a page in our Tri-City United course registration guide, and as you can see, we have a number of courses that we have college credit attached to them. It's kind of an amazing number. So what the U gives us, that talks about the 7 U's courses that you can see the U of M by there in the English department, 1 math course, and then our social studies department. But overall, we offer so many different courses that we can equate concurrent enrollment and college credit to, which is pretty amazing. 3 years ago, we started the criminal justice program, actually 4 years ago, and even those semester courses, we have Normandale Community College, they will attach credits to them. The number of credits I put in the parentheses at the end of each course title. Some of the math courses offer 5 college credits through Southwest State. So, and we've also got our Health Science Academy. I know we've got a couple of your kiddos as part of that program. So students have many different opportunities. There's many different levels. Somebody doesn't have to take the most high-end math courses to still earn college credit at Tri-City United. And that's something we can hang our hat on. And then we also, a couple of years ago, we started course number, the very first top line, the Writing Studio 1201. That's considered by the U an entry point project course. This is geared towards the high school student who is in that 35% to about that 65-70% range. So these are a lot of students that at one point may not have even considered going off to college after high school. This is also a course which many of our AVID students have their sights focused on, going through the AVID program and then jumping into that course, which could happen. Most of our students in that course are seniors, but it could actually happen during the junior year. Jumping down to articulated college credit, which speaks highly of our CTE programming. This is what it says that we put inside the guidebook. How do I do this? And just some bullet points. Once again, it's a way for students to earn both high school and college credit. They must pass the course and complete all of the competencies with a B grade or higher. Then we give them a certificate, which they walk up to the registrar's office at a 2-year college and say, here's what I earned, and they can earn that college credit that way at our 2-year programs. They are good for up to 2 years from when they're issued. And we've found a way that even after 2 years, let's say a sophomore tests out inside a welding program and they don't go on to take more welding, Mr. Schmidt has agreed to have that student in the last month of their senior year to re-show that they're still at a high level, and then we can reissue that articulated college credit. And then the last page here, these are all of the TCU CTE courses which students can pick up articulated college credit for. It hits 5 different departments, and that is a unique piece. It's widespread, it's across our CTE programs, and even in the health science program, there's at least one course there which they can pick up articulated credit as well. And finally, on the very bottom are the benefits of advanced standing. Students can start their college career here in the high school setting, and we really like to keep our students here because we benefit from their leadership, we benefit from their involvement. We've got many of our students. We have one this year which is kind of rare. She's full-time PSEO, but she comes back to play volleyball. But most of our students who are in our concurrent enrollment programming here, or the articulated programming, they also take part in our after-school extracurricular activities as well. Questions on that piece?
I have one. So for these courses, I'm a little rusty, but when the high schoolers make their schedules, these count as electives, or they count as wherever they fall, whether it's in English or math or whatever?
By state statute, if you're in a concurrent enrollment course, that basically waives any local requirements in that department.
Got it.
So we've got our 2 U.S. history courses that the university offers. We've got the concurrent enrollment, the CIS courses, and then we have our general history course. So these courses are taught at a higher and deeper level from the curriculum standpoint. So that takes place of that general social studies U.S. history requirement.
So kids could really maximize on this if they wanted to and they knew what they wanted. I'm just thinking of like nursing stuff, and hopefully I would assume that the advisors, if you're interested, know, okay, take child development, take this, take that, and you're going to have those met before you even get.
Well, and that'll be part of the pathway piece that we'll be working on this year, that Mr. Eppen is going to be diving in deeply on from the pathway piece. Is, we're going to have a guide telling students and telling parents, this is the course realm that you want to take, starting very early in that 9th and 10th grade year, so they can take these upper level courses and earn that post-secondary credit here at TCU.
Save a ton of money.
Well, having one graduated already, she's in her 4th year of college. She took all of her classes in 3 years, and she's student teaching the whole 4th year. So by being able to take advantage of those classes, she did take a couple summer classes here and there, but saved her a lot of money and also furthered her education too here at school, being able to take advantage of that. So it's pretty cool.
I'd also like to springboard off of Marcia. Saved her a lot of money, but saved parents a tremendous amount. I know that in one of your reports back a little ways, you showed the total dollars that TCU students have saved. Waconia, Minnesota when we have our Southwest Metro, once a year, he reports, and it's millions of dollars since this has gone on that and I think that's something that we need to, really show to our parents of the TSU School District because we are doing this, If any of you got up early this morning, CBS News this week is doing it on college education and the tremendous debt that these kids, this is a way to eliminate some of that debt. There is no doubt about it.
The work you've put into keeping our students in our building, that's amazing. They're not, they might be smart enough to do the college work, but are they really ready to be sitting on a college campus at 16 and 17? I don't know. So I greatly appreciate that we have so many opportunities for all of our students. They don't have to leave our building, and they're still getting amazing opportunities that they can't get at a lot of other high schools.
Just kind of a bird walk off of what Dale shared. This is College Knowledge Month, the month of October. If you walked past the E-Cafe tonight during conferences, we always try to find ways to get more parents into the building for high school conferences. We've tried a number of different things. Tonight we've got South Central College reps here, and they're working with seniors and their parents on filling out the FAFSA, the financial aid application. So I compliment our counseling department. They worked with South Central College, and they've got 2 or 3 reps here to just help parents walk through. They're on the TCU Chromebook. You pop those open and filling out the application. They need last year's tax report, and so that's another positive there. And that could be 2-year programs, that could be 4-year programs. It's the whole gamut. Dr. Price?
Also to commend our staff. I mean, our staff that are teaching these courses too have to have a little bit more of a education time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
They spend time. Mr. Head, who's trained in all 3 PLTW courses, which we awarded 37 students with college credit. I just paid that, or you paid that bill. No, I think I paid that. No, it was you guys. We paid that bill last month. What is neat there is we were first with St. Cloud State, and then we moved to the University of Minnesota for those college credits because they offered it to us for $100 per student for PLTW credits for students that scored a 3 or higher on the end of course test. The range is a 0 to a 9, and we had 37 students last year from the 3 courses that earned that, which is a large number of them. And some will earn it on all 3 courses, and that's also fantastic. A lot of staff training. I didn't see on the agenda, is this where you want me to talk about the ACT?
To kind of lay some information out so that the board can have some time to think about it and possibly bring forward to a November for action item.
Looking at current stats in JMC, we technically have 147 juniors, but of those 8 are either international students or new preg students that come here for 1 course. So that drops it down to 139 in the junior class. We did do the ACT practice test, as Dr. Preisler shared from my board report. It went well here inside the G wing. So of that 139, we have 45 that are free and reduced, and the state does reimburse back on free and reduced students. So that drops us down that if the board would like to, once again this year, that would be, we'd be paying for 94 juniors as of today. That number will change. It may grow, it may drop. And frankly, we always have, usually for the actual test, we always have anywhere from 4 to 7 that just decide not to come that day, nor don't want to take it. Because it's no longer a forced test, it's student choice. So roughly somewhere in that 4,500 to 5,000 range. I've got 4,800, and that's based off of the 94. The current rate, I actually signed a 3-year contract, or Molly did, or we both did, incentive. We had some confusion there. But we locked in a price at $51.50 per test for this year and the next 2 years to follow, which is the first time ACT has ever done that. And you can break it you don't have to do that if you want, but so we locked it in because, as we know, things go up. So, so roughly $52 per test, or $4,800 is what I anticipate would get all of our students the opportunity to take the ACT. And with the ACT, that if they score high enough, if they're going to a 2-year, which most 2 years require students to take the AccuPlacer, that ACT score in the college readiness benchmarks, because the AccuPlacer deals with math and English, or reading in English. Jeff, do you remember science on there too? In the science AccuPlacer? Yeah. So those scores on the no, it's just math and reading. So those scores from the ACT can be used there, and they wouldn't have to take the AccuPlacer, which means they don't have to take remedial courses. As many of you know, a lot of our students take remedial courses when they go off to college. So food for thought for maybe November's board meeting. Any questions on ACT or the process?
Are we doing any sort of ACT prep?
I knew that question would come up.
Thank you.
You may have saw in my board report, I signed on with ACT. We're going to take another ACT prep test on December 4th. That's a Wednesday. It is the full boat once again. This time, though, they will tell me they will put half of our juniors on the Chromebook to take it as a test run, and the other half will be on paper. Why is that? It's called a field study test. So they are having students read through and answer questions that haven't been given the go-ahead yet as possible future ACT test questions. So we're doing the field study. We do get a kickback of $20 per junior, and we've done some of those inside the past, and that helps the high school level because in past years that paid for the college program. And then we've also got our counseling department is putting some things together to both address our 9th graders from the career aspect and also to work on with our teachers with the ACT prep piece. We have our Titan time, and we have some teachers that like to actually pull in ACT test questions, have the students answer them. They can only get to about 3 questions during a Titan time, but they break them down as to why it's this answer and not that answer. I'm also working with Jesse Siebsten once again for about 3 or 4 weeks out before the actual test on a Saturday, the opportunity for those that want to take part in a we've used Zaps inside the past. That's a vendor that will come in, and for about 3-4 hours during a Saturday time, they'll take them through, give them small versions of the practice tests, and they'll explain once again why it's these answers and not those answers. It teaches students how to reduce the answer probability, for lack of a better phrase. And we're going to work on some more things. We just got to figure that out.
Is there any piece that talks about how to take the test? Like I think about boards that people take and whatnot, and a lot of it is like you mentioned how to take it, but it sounds like more they talk about just decreasing the chances of the answers. But does any course help them learn how to take that kind of a test? How the questions are written, that kind of thing?
Well, you know, we had done the On to College the past 2 years with John Baylor, and that's what he specializes in.
And I'm sure there's many different
Yeah.
like strategies to
Yeah.
use. I just didn't know if
what ACT has done, they've actually come out with some free resources.
Okay.
Myself, Gretchen, and Emily, we went to an ACT workshop in Mankato last Tuesday morning. And so we've got access now to a bunch of their new resources. Okay. They also have some things for cost, but of course. So we need to take a deeper look there as to what we can use that doesn't always have to lead to another
Right.
cost, because they have the per student cost.
Sounds like you have a few different plans going on, so that's good.
It's just trying to get the students to accept the idea of, yeah, we're going to work on prepping for this. And it's all over the board as far as, yep, my parents want me to, but I don't. To, yeah, I want to dive in now. So,
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Good job.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to ask Al if we actually, provide parents the opportunity to throw up monetary money at the correcting of those ACT tests.
The kids do it, don't they?
Yeah, kids do. And
No.
Practice test.
What's in the news, the parents who have gone to jail?
I was like, I'm like, what are you talking about there, Dale?
Moving on, building project update.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Filter, Dale.
Yeah, filter. Yeah.
Well, a lot of our update this month is on punch list items, and Mr. Mink is with his family with his daughter at an honors choir and honors band in St. Thomas. And so Eric today said, Terry, could I help with the presentation tonight? And I thought, when I'm seeing DTU and RTU and I said, yeah, come on.
We'd love for you to be here.
So thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Superintendent Preisler, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Start out with TCU Lonsdale. The punch list and the closeouts are entering their final stages. Lots of little I's to dot. Not a lot of big T's. The big thing last week, we did the training on the software system. That's the management program. And it was very cool seeing the new building and the old building kind of merge, and what we can do with the new HVAC software. It's very cool. It's very hands-on. Off-site controls to our phone. We'll get alerts and warnings, and that's great. We also did the training for the actual equipment, the RTUs, the rooftop units in the DTU, which is the metal units that are inside the classroom. It's top of the line, but very simple and very easy to work with. It's basically old technology that's been made better. The big thing that I really love about these DTUs, both at Lee Center and Lonsdale, is when people feel air blowing on their head, it makes you uncomfortable. It could be warm air, it could be cold air. It just doesn't feel comfortable. Myself, I don't have much hair, so it's even worse, so I can kind of attest to that. Where these new systems is, you really can't even tell that you can tell the air is moving, but you can't feel that it is. You just go into a space and it's fresh, warm, inviting, just awesome. It was very cool to see the stuff in action after it's been all tested and balanced and working to the way it's supposed to. Operation and maintenance, the warranties, as-built, documentation's in progress. That'll be nice. We'll get our final as-built plans and our O&M manuals, which are everything that they did in the building, all the stuff that they use, it's all in there. So if things break, warranty information, all that stuff. So that'll be really good to get that, and it really kind of signifies the end of the project. TCU Lee Center, the heat is on. Lance and myself, we got that on last Thursday and Friday. Punch list, mid-stage, low voltage system. A lot of that big stuff is going to be happening on Wednesday. We were able to get some extra floors waxed this weekend, so we got that part of it off. So now the JD Driver and their team can come in and really move mountains on Wednesday or Thursday and Friday to get everything taken care of and to close out that project. Again, we've already sealed the floors. They look great. They really make it pop. The white had that dull to it. Once we put the seal on it, it really pops. And the good thing about it, it's using a third of what we would normally use on a floor this size for seal. So that'll help with costs, and it'll make it look nicer for longer. We are doing the owner training for the HVAC, RTUs, and DTUs this coming Wednesday. That'll be interesting. This one's a little bit more in depth with what we have on our rooftop up there with the heating of the hot gases. I haven't been in a building that had this in years, and now it's come along so much. It'll be really cool to see how this stuff works so that we can use more fresh air on the outside. A lot cheaper to heat than relying on the boiler, so that'll be very cool to get that taken care of. Again, the O&M manuals, warranties, and as-built in progress, and we hope to have that really soon. The CCU Montgomery Early Learning Center. I just have to say that is my favorite. Before, I'm sure the auditorium would be very cool, but this is my favorite right now just because my shop being right there, seeing what it was to what it is today, it's just amazing. I love walking through there every morning. The heat is on, everything is working great. Punch list is almost near completion. We got our countertop, and we're just waiting on some key cores, that's the new thing that we wait for. Over MEA break, they're going to be adding some pieces into the tile to give it more of an accent. So we probably won't be able to get too much sealed and finished, but we can always do that over Thanksgiving and Christmas break also. Again, contractor will be there doing the punch list. We were trained on the HVAC, RTU, and DTU equipment there. Again, more of the old school tech, just very, very efficient, very quiet, and makes the space very comfortable. And O&M warranties, and that will all be forthcoming. The tertiary water loop at the high school and the boiler integration getting finalized with the tab, which is basically just testing and balancing in the next few weeks. We're liking what we're seeing here. Again, this is more of a complex system with the Performing Arts Center and the ag shop and the classrooms being kind of close to each other. It's just different ways to heat and cool that are, kind of with the old standard one, so it's very cool. As we get that balance, it's very quiet, and you can't really tell you're working next to a shop if you're, teaching something else, so it's very cool. This will be the Performing Arts, the PAC, the front of the house. Again, it's amazing to walk in there every week and to see what they're getting done. You can really tell that this is what this space is going to be and what the potential it has. Just nice and open. It's going to be very cool.
You can see the progress, and they're making when we use the word clouds, we're referring to these. They are for acoustics and sound absorption, but also then some parts of it to have the sound bounce. So you have the really strong acoustical aspects coming together, and as you can see, some of them now have been painted, and then there is some fill that will go in here.
That's not like the color, right? That reddish orange?
No, that's construction colors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
pre-paint.
Get this. No, I'm just kidding.
No, this is all getting
that won't look like that.
It's not pretty.
It's amazing.
The stonework, which is just amazing how cool this stone looks. It really does look old school, and that's going to be a huge wow factor. People will really notice that stonework. Very cool. The North Rake CMU wall, again with our elevated ceiling going in there, and then the backstage loading and bridge rigging. Lots of cool catwalks, which if you're a maintenance guy, it's always cool to be able to walk up on a catwalk if you're not afraid of heights.
I'm out.
The stage side rigging and fly lines. If you've been in our old auditoriums, you see what we have to what we're going to have. It's kind of intimidating. Wow, we're going to really be doing some cool stuff with the flies and the rigging and all that stuff. Before we had 4 or 5 ropes, now it seems to be hundreds. So that'll be very, very cool when this is done.
We should string Terry up on there for the opening. She can just glide out. Well,
to be honest, I offered and everybody was really quiet, and I don't understand what they were getting at, so I just kind of left it at that. So, and that's the view from up at the catwalk.
Be lowered down.
They're decked out in hard hat.
It would be cool.
More catwalk. The pit, which is, again, very cool. Down in there, we're going to get some really great sounds coming out of there when that's done. Changing rooms, tile work. Again, it's all coming together really well. The scene shops. So much space. It's just gonna be great to see what they create with the space and what they have back there compared to what they've had before. That's gonna be very cool.
This might be a silly question, but they'll have to move stuff from the old auditorium?
Yes.
Once
Very
it's all
little. They don't.
I was
They don't have a lot of stuff there that's going to be moved, but a little bit of stuff. Scene shop.
Mainly costumes.
Yeah.
and stuff. There really isn't much for
right?
scene.
Every
Yeah.
time they build
Yep.
their
Yep.
own.
Yep, build interior all down.
Again, doors just to get stuff into and to get things. It's just the flexibility of the space. It's awesome.
Cool.
Great.
Do you guys have any questions?
With the new HVAC systems certification by our janitorial staff, will they all become certified? in these?
Absolutely. Yep. We do that. We train everybody up. So, John just texted me a question he had with one of them too. So, absolutely, everybody's going to learn on how to do it.
But you're meaning like the external tests and
yes,
levels and all of
that.
those. This would be internal training, correct?
Internal training,
Right.
yes. Yeah.
But
Because they don't require the same boiler.
No. This is all, this is, low pressure, actual lower certification to run this stuff, so.
Lots of computer stuff.
Lots of computers.
Great summary.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very, very much. Enrollment update, Superintendent Preisler?
Yeah. Well, you're going to see a lot of similar numbers to September, which is a good thing. Typically, September to October, we've had some dips, but I will say we have really cleaned up our systems and processes for this. In the past, sometimes our beginning of the year, September, October may have been a little inflated as we were, as you heard Mr. Fitter reference, like students that come from New Prague for some courses, that kind of thing. So we've cleaned up as to any students who are taking, say, online course, maybe one period of the day or maybe 4 periods of the day, which ones do we count as this for in the seats? And so cleaned that process up, held very steady here at our K4 level, still at that 708. As October 1 within our 5-6, holding steady again at the 287. And then also at 7-8, slight growth of 306 to 308, and high school is 548 to 548. And see an 1851 to an 1851. What's the chance of that? And 1851 was our end of the year last year, exact number. So it's kind of freaky. Because hopefully, again, we'll maybe see some bumps here as sometimes movements happen around the holidays for families. We do sometimes see between October to November, though, a slight decrease for some families for their socioeconomics and their employment situations. We haven't heard of too many of those, but there is typically some. So, yeah, that's our enrollment report at this time.
Super, thank you very much. Moving on to committee updates, Q count. Masha, Michelle?
I kind of forgot that we had a meeting that night.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, that's okay. Our last Q comp really was on, again, we were planning the early releases, and something we're doing really differently this year. I don't think so. Well, oh my goodness. And we'll segue into, we are committing our early releases this year to sustainability. So often organizations, there's the feeling, well, we just start this and now we're starting something new. Well, that's not where we're at right now. We will have at each of our early releases moving forward, there will be some social emotional learning training that will occur based upon the work that our social workers and counselors did last year within the curriculum review. If you recall, that was focused on 5 main areas of social emotional learning. And so they'll be introducing each one of these into self-management, self-advocacy, those kinds of areas. So each month we'll be training our staff on what this is, what does it look like. And it's not a canned curriculum. This is more about daily experiences than, hey, it's SEL time and now we're going to learn about our emotions, because we know those don't turn on and shut off like that. So it really will permeate everything. So that's going to be a consistent part of our early releases. And then the second part of it will be at site needs, and for that would be within La Center, TCU La Center, TCU Montgomery, and TCU High School would be really digging in on AVID and the whole WICR strategies. WICR stands for writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and intensive reading. So that's what WICR stands for when you hear us throwing that term around. TCU Lonsdale will be moving that learning into implementation work of universal design for learning, which is that personalization aspect of it, which does really fit well with AVID. As you know, even though there are 2 different acronyms and there is a little bit of difference, it still is about higher level learning, personalization, and strategy base. And that's the important part. So yeah, that's where that was. We set some timelines for our individual professional development plans. Those are due here now at the end of the week, and then feedback will be provided, and moving into goals and everything.
We do have a meeting on Wednesday, though.
Yes, you do. You have a meeting on Wednesday.
Yep, 4:15.
I'm pretty sure I didn't get invited to those meetings.
Oh, well.
Well, we'll give you 2 invites for the next one.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
No,
It comes from our Q-Comp crew there, so.
Facilities, Michelle and Ashley, I believe we did not have any meetings. The last one was updates, of course, on our new projects.
We did have one a couple weeks ago.
Before the work session.
Yeah, before the work session.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yep. And that one there dealt with having Sally's come in and get the draining system off of the roofs at the center primary site. Was probably where we spent most of our time, and then
Wasn't off the roof though, it was a driveway.
Well, it's
coming
the
down.
water
coming down off the roof,
Yeah.
into the tile.
Yep.
That type of a thing.
And the main parts of that meeting were on a determination of, since now that after digging in and finding the broken pipe, getting that replaced, and then having that filled, deciding, do we hold on doing the blacktopping again right now, or do we wait until next year? There was some thought from Zelly's recommendation themselves was that we will want to keep an eye out for the other side, that because of water getting in, it could give a washboard effect. But did not think that either way that we go, that would make a big difference if we wait, or if we waited till spring, or if we do it now. From the blacktopping company, again, thought either way would be fine. We know that at the bottom where the apron is, yeah, thanks, that is lifting. So we know that that's going to need to be a major replacement as well. But Dale, if you want to add some more pieces to that, please.
I think that was the other part of it, why I kind of, Eric and Carl and everybody's kind of saying, let's just put this on hold. I've been driving by and it looks to be, staying level. I mean, as far as that gravel with all the rain, that type of thing, it doesn't seem to be settling that. But I think Carl's idea too is next spring we have to replace that apron because of the situation with that. And so then all can be done in and it'll probably end up being more of a summer project than a spring project.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Southwest Metro, we just had a regular meeting there, and it was just that beginning of the year meeting. Tomorrow night is our next one. Superintendent Preisler will be our superintendent, so she'll hopefully be attending as well.
I'm planning to.
There. Next one, somewhat new. Michelle has been serving and has attended some meetings on the statewide finance task force, and is willing to give us some updates. Thank you.
School Finance Working Group.
Oh,
is what
working
we're
group.
calling it.
Okay, I thought it was a
Oh.
task force.
No, we're a working group.
Working group.
Totally different than a task force.
The buzzword of the year. Working group.
So really, we've met, we just had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago to kind of talk about what the purpose of this working group is. And really, it's just to take a step back, look at all of everything that is school finance and try to figure out if there's a better way. I mean, that's the gist of what it's about. So our first meeting was, I think, 4 hours, 3-4 hours, and really just put together on the board with Post-it notes and everybody up and talking about it. What matters? What are you seeing? Let's just brainstorm ideas, concerns. What are your thoughts on this, on school finance?
And who's in this group with you? Sorry.
So this was a group that the governor asked the Commissioner of Education to put together to reform school finance.
Okay, so much. Okay.
So there's parents, there's school principals, there's teachers,
Cool.
school board members, business professionals, interesting group of
Well represented, it sounds like.
all across the board, everything
Yeah.
you can think of.
Cool.
Graduate students looking at this. It was an interesting group.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about different areas that we can look into. Pages and pages of them. Different mandates and why are they mandated if they're not funded, and pages. So it's interesting. That was last month's meeting. Next month we meet.
You meet this Thursday, don't you?
Yes, this Thursday up in Roseville at 4:30.
Thank you for going
Yes.
that far.
Yes.
It's really interesting though, so. And I think we handed out those equity.
That's
Yes,
what
if
that
you
was
had
for.
some more, that would,
I will grab some more when I go
please do on
up.
Thursday.
Yes. So everything that we've talked about, they've really stressed, let's look at this through their equity magnifier. So that was what that little
Yeah.
bookmark. That we passed.
Yep.
Really interesting to kind of look outside. It's if you didn't read it, I would recommend reading it. It's something to just sort of think about really in everything we do when we come sit at this table. So, I'll try
Thank
to
you.
keep everybody.
Thank you,
what we're
Michelle,
doing.
for all your efforts. Greatly appreciated. Moving on then, new business. First item is a resolution. Trista?
Yep, so the School Board of Independent School District number 2905 accept with appreciation the following gifts, donations, and permit their uses designated by the donor or donors. Do we have any? Yes,
Yep.
a lot.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kevin. Any comments, Superintendent Preisler, or
Well, this is,
anyone?
yeah, this was a pretty exciting month here of donations, and wide variety of organizations and some individuals as well. And in some cases for specific action, in some cases for a little more wide open. As you can see, we've had some Special Olympics, Nicollet County, the Neubauer family, who has made donations each year for would it be 19 years? Probably not 19. It'd probably be more like
Today was his
16
birthday,
would have been.
16th.
Joshua's birthday would have been.
Today, I think.
Yeah. Ameriprise has to help with the welcome back. We have classroom supplies, some churches for students in need, and we also had LeSueur County of students in need. You'll see a lot of robotics, things that came through. Frank Breen, who was a past Montgomery Lonsdale teacher and coach, in particular coach in football and in track, sadly did pass away this late summer, and one of his wishes was that any of his memorial funds be donated to the school district, and did indicate these areas, and track is a male and female sport, so we're okay with Title IX in that aspect as well. But again, lots of things here then with robotics. So it's important for us to acknowledge the generosity that happens throughout our communities, and here at Tri-City United, and in some cases beyond our communities. What gracious gifts.
No kidding. Thank you, thank you. Once again, this needs to be a roll call vote. Marcia?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
And myself is yes. Resolution passes 7-0. Moving on to the next one is another resolution.
Resolution establishing combined polling places for multiple precincts and designating hours during which the polling places will remain open for voting for school district elections not held on the day of a statewide election.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ashley. Discussion and any comments, Superintendent Preisler?
This it has become an annual resolution that must be taken by school boards as per statute. In the past, it used to be you only did these when you have an election coming. That is not the case any longer. It needs to be acted on annually. So this does not mean that we're having an election, anybody. We're not. But in order to abide by the statute at 205A.11, we do designate them. We have designated the same polling locations that have been used by Tri-City United in the past at our city halls in Lonsdale, Montgomery, and Le Center. And we also designate then the locations that go to those combined polling places, which is inclusive of cities and within the townships. So keeping things consistent for support and transparency with our voters. But there is no election happening. This is just an annual resolution. Annual resolution.
Thank you, Superintendent Preisler. Once again, roll call vote. Kevin?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Josh?
Yep.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Marcia?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. That resolution then passes 7-0 as well. Moving on, entertain a motion to approve the private transportation contract between Carroll Tupee and Tri-City United Schools for the 2019-2020 school year.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Marcia. Is there, and second by Kevin. Is there any discussion?
I'll address to both of these. They're the similar type of a private carrier transportation contract. These are by statute situations where families within your district have chosen a private school outside of your district, and so by law we do need to enter into a contract with them and then provide reimbursement to these families to the school district border. So it does not go all the way to the school that they are attending, but it does go to the border, and then we do receive 80% reimbursement from the state for this contract and these miles.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Once again, entertain a motion to approve the private transportation contract between Shana Murphy and Tri-City United Schools for the 2019-2020 school year.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kevin.
Second.
Second by Krista. Once again, any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Next item is another resolution. Krista, please.
Resolution that Independent School District 2905 school board support the district's application to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation for the Form A grant to offset student activity fees.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ashley. Any questions? Superintendent Preisler, any comments here that you'd like to make about this one?
This is one that we're glad to see back from the state legislature. It got missed in a legislative session a few years ago, and so this foundation was not enacted, and thankfully it got brought back in the last session. This is a foundation where there are funds set aside within the State High School League to be able to help support local students at school districts to be able to access and participate by offsetting their participation fees. It by no means fully funds it, but every penny counts and makes a difference. And so by us approving this resolution and submitting it within the timely manner to the State High School League does afford our students to be able to access in working with Mr. Johnson in our activities department.
Thank you. Once again, roll call vote. Marcia?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Krista?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Kevin?
Yes.
And myself, yes. This resolution passes then 7-0. Next item that we have is the approval of Superintendent Preisler evaluation. We'll entertain a motion and second, and then there will be some discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Krista,
I'll second it.
second by Marcia. First of all, as board chair, I want to once again thank everybody for our great discussion that we had that night, and then also Ashley for your great notes that you took. I think it was great to see, she had things pretty much word for word, and it was something where Superintendent Preisler and I could use that as a way of walking through this evaluation and moving it forward. The other item that we spent a lot of time on is the one that we received, and that's up on the board, of the ranking system. And I think we all felt very, very comfortable as we looked at each of these 9 different areas of the continued growth that Superintendent Preisler is making in each and every one of these. And especially this year with all of the referendum things, and her daily schedule is tremendously full, and yet in all of the areas she continued to show great growth, and we truly appreciate her efforts as well as a board, and constantly putting TCU truly first in her life, and we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I guess I can't say enough on how much I've enjoyed working with you and being on the school board and in the different positions that we've held. And you hold TCU as high regarded to everything that we do. And I see back on where we were and where we are now. It's a great, tremendous efforts in your part on all of those awards, and it trickles down from what you do, or from us to you, down to our administration, and also to our staff. So you do great work.
Thank you. It certainly is a team effort, and I always appreciate and value the support, but the guidance of our board as well, because your leadership makes a difference as we move forward here too. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
I just want to say, I think next year when we go back to, we all sit down and go through everything together with Dr. Preisler. I feel like maybe we missed that.
We forgot. That's how I feel. Like I forgot until you had said, hey.
Yep.
Then I was like, oh, we did. So, yeah, we need to note that. I think that would
Just go.
Yep.
It was a good dialogue with
Yep.
with Dale as our board chair too, though, so, thank you.
If no further discussion, I'll just read, motion by Krista, second by Marcia, to approve Superintendent Preisler's 2018-2019 superintendent evaluation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion carries 7-0. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Ashley, seconded by Kevin to adjourn the meeting at 7:40 PM. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Same sign, 7-0.